Hello and welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine, your certified life and business coach, intuitive, and Marconic multidimensional energy teacher and practitioner. I have been talking about retirement this month, and today we're going to be talking about what should you do in retirement. I know I've had those thoughts for years of going, I'm going to be bored out of my mind when I retire. Why would I ever retire? And then another part of me goes, are you nuts? That's your fault if you're bored. There's so much to do. So I have taken some time and I've looked at what I might want to do when I retire. And literally, there are pages of things that I might want to do. So I recommend for people, if you aren't sure what you're going to do when you retire, start making a list. What are things you've always wanted to do? Where do you want to travel? You may have the money, you may not, but maybe you can do something a little less than maybe a full years of going to all these different places. Maybe you go for a week or two to one place that you love every other year. Maybe you can afford that. So have to look at your budget for those sorts of things. But what do you want to do? Do you want to take certain classes? Do you want to get more involved in your church? Maybe you want to volunteer places. Or maybe there's certain things you want to consult on or get work part-time so you have some money coming in. What do you feel you have to do versus what do you want to do? Do you have to, maybe you love your grandchildren, but you have to now, since you're retired, 2 or 3 days a week, they expect you to babysit. Do you want to babysit? Can you get out of it? If you love it and you can't wait, then great. Try it. Just tell them, I'm happy to do this, but this is on a trial basis because I don't know if I can keep up with them, depending on how old they are. I know somebody who has 3 different ages of grandkids. One's a baby, toddler, runs all over the place. Twins, which are crazed around 3 or 4 now, or they were anyway, and another grandchild that's a little older, I think. I'm not even sure I remember, but they exhaust her. And she loves having them, but she's exhausted. So the question is, how much do you want that? And you may not know right now, but there are certain things you might feel you have to do. So make different categories. These are what I have to do when I retire. Pay your bills and all that stuff doesn't count. You already know you have to do that. But things that maybe are new that you have to do. Maybe you are the president of the board of the church, or you do something else that you're doing now. Do you want to keep those up? These are what you feel you have to do. What do you want to do? Like I said, is there things that you've always wanted to take classes on? Are there spiritual courses that you want to do? Do you want to join a gym and you never did before? Or have a trainer and can you afford it? Maybe because now you'll be sitting around more. Maybe you were running around before and now you'll be sitting down. Or maybe you want to move somewhere and join a newcomers club. Maybe you want to learn to quilt or craft and you haven't done that before. You want to join a guild to be able to stay connected, and I know not every place has those. Maybe you want to join the elks or the moose or the some other animal that those clubs that have that get-togethers so that you have somewhere to go if you don't, especially if you're alone. Do you have family that you'll feel that you want to or you have to visit because you're more available? Look at all these things. Like I said, when I decided I get bored easy, and I thought, oh, I haven't been bored for years. But you can be bored if you just read all the time. But maybe the first 2 months you retire, all you're going to do is sleep, and then sit around and read and just do things you haven't been able to do. But it doesn't mean you'll do that the rest of your life. There are a lot of other things you could do that will be fun, that you can get involved with. Don't let yourself not surround, you don't have to surround yourself with people, but don't be so much of a hermit that you don't get out there and do things you want to do. If you love not going out and you love being on your own and you are just you, it's your choice. But you have more of a chance now to meet up with friends, to have lunches, to reconnect to people that you maybe have let go because you have the time. See if you can reconnect with people. Maybe you start talking to people on Facebook more and you say, hey, I'd like to actually meet you in person. You live not that far from me. I'd like to have more friends. What do you think? Let's try it out and see if we get along great. Maybe you have those volunteer opportunities that you take in and you get even deeper into them. Maybe you want to work with animals and you connect to the SPCA. There's also some that deal with wild animals that you could go to with the animal rescues. There's all sorts of things that you can do, as much or as little of volunteering as you want. Sometimes they require certain things, and so you have to look into it. And I have a whole, I think, a video on volunteering. And if not here, then I have it on my podcast, Living Your Limitless Life. I can't remember which one I did it on. But it's all about volunteering and how you can do it and what you have to look for and all that stuff. So there is a lot of options out there. There are so many things that you can do. Make sure the things that you've either done in the past that you'd love to do again, things that you've never done that you think sound like fun, that you put all those things down, because there are so many things that you can do. Make sure that you don't leave things out that you haven't experienced yet. Things maybe you've never bowled and you've always wanted to try it. Maybe you gutter bowl all the time, but you get on a league anyway. Believe me, they like people that changes their handicap so that they get more points, because some days you'll do better. It's really rather surprising that you get a lot of points if the person's bad, because that was me. I never got over 100. Usually the first one was around 90 something, the second one was around 100, and the third one was like 80. So I had a really bad, I had a high handicap. I did not do that well. So, and they loved having me there, but it was a fun group. So go until you find a group of people that you connect with, because you can find people in everywhere. You can go to meetups more often, see things that interest you around your area. Check it out. People are meeting in person now. Some people are still in Zoom and everything. You can try Toastmasters. You can do all sorts of things. You can even audition for a theater show, because maybe you've never done it before, or maybe you've done it a lot and it's time to revisit it. You have more time now. You can go farther afield and audition farther away because you'll have more time to drive. There are so many things, and they can be so much fun. Make sure that when you decide to retire, that you don't just go without a plan. Don't schedule every single minute of every single day, because you're retired. You don't have to do that. Even me, who was a scheduler, who was a planner, I don't need to do that. When I came to that realization, when I was trying to figure out, do I want to retire? When do I want to retire? And all this stuff, which led to this month of talking about retirement, I realized that I don't have to know everything, but I need to make some sort of a plan so I'm not bored, just so I kind of know the stuff. So then I can cross it off if I don't like it, but at least I've tried it. I'm thinking I want to do water aerobics because I finally learned to swim, and maybe that's a good thing for exercise, but I haven't done that before. So maybe I'll like it. So that's something that's on my list. We'll see what happens. I have to say that it can be a very exciting time. When people say congratulations on retirement, I used to think they were crazy. But as I've gotten a little older, and I have to say the work got a lot harder, more complicated, more challenging, more difficult, and harder to keep up with, I kind of felt like, yeah, maybe I don't want to do this forever. Because you don't really think about retirement. A lot of people don't, as they're getting up, as they're going through their life. You might plan for it by saving money, but you don't necessarily think about everything you want to do or about how free you might be feeling. If you don't feel free when you retire, then you loved your job. If you feel like you are rudderless and have nowhere to go, you haven't thought it through well enough. So give yourself that gift. Find things you can do. Find where you can do them and the kind of people that you can do them with, and see what makes you feel good, what brings you that joy. Because if you don't find what you can do, you're just going to be rudderless, just sitting around, maybe sleeping or reading or watching TV and playing games or whatever you're doing, and you won't have anything else. If you have a significant other, they might want to kick you out of the house because you're going to drive them crazy. So make sure that you've talked about it. with that significant other. What do we want to do when I retire? Well, maybe they're retiring at the same time. Maybe they've already been retired. But talk about that and say, hey, you're still working and I'm going to retire. This is the kind of stuff I want to do. But I want to include you in sometimes, but are you too tired? Do you want to be part of this? Make sure that you talk, especially if you're married, if you have this person in your life, so that you can make plans together. It's so much more fun that way. Thanks for listening. I hope you've learned something and that you've taken away some ideas on where to move on from here. If you like what you hear, by all means, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell notification so you know the next time that a video is posted. I hope that you will, if you want to know more about me, that you'll check out my website at www.connect2joy.com. That's connect, the number 2, joy.com. It's going to be below this video as well as my email. And you can email me about maybe connecting, seeing if you want to work with me as a life coach or as maybe an intuitive, to see if we are a good connection and if this is something I can help you with. Also, for the Marconic multidimensional energy, you can look online on the website and you'll get a lot more information about that, as well as finding the information on my podcast, Living Your Limitless Life, which you can find on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, just a bunch of different ones, as well as directly through my website. Until next week, please do remember that you have all that you need to be. You are already enough to have that joyful, limitless life that you desire.